So the first thing I want to talk about is who's affected by minimum wage. According to the United States Bureau of Labor Statistics, 48.2% of the individuals that work at or below minimum wage is ages 16 through 24. Another 24.2% of those are ages 25 through 34. So there's quite a few younger people involved in minimum wage salaries. Out of all of those individuals, the most interesting number was 25% of the individuals at that level are ages 16 through 19 years old. That's the very first 3 years of your working careers. You're working that's minimum wage at or below line. You're just starting out. Quite typically, these jobs at minimum wage are generally at the lower rungs of the labor ladders, and people are using these jobs, these entry-level positions, to gain their experience and improve themselves to get better jobs. There's quite a few job market industries in that realm, whether it's construction or the office job, working in the mailrooms, or there's a lot of healthcare and education. But the second point that I'd like to bring out is fast food and restaurant industries are the largest group of employers at that level. According to Pew Research, 47% of all individuals that work at that salary line is restaurant and fast food. They're food servers. They also went on to explain that making these increases to a $15 minimum wage at that level doesn't really help society, as there's a lot of people also getting an education to work at a specific job, whether it's first responder or the healthcare medical field, the education field, even the mechanic field, and there's a lot of fields that are still right around that starting level of the minimum wage line, with room to grow, that are being affected there. However, typical of any companies that you work for, there's the big companies and the small companies, and that's where I want to go with my point number 3. Is that what they're finding right now is that the bigger companies keep absorbing the prices, where the smaller companies are starting to fail. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And there was a study by Texas A&M and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology that showed that over time, what's happening is jobs are actually starting to decrease. As they're raising the minimum wages, it's causing these companies to really absorb that price and raise their prices, and what's happening is there's an actual loss of jobs in the industry now. And we're starting to only catch the front beginnings of what this means to society. When we start making these big changes, we're taking the largest group possibly affected by this change, that 47% of restaurant and fast food workers. We're making the biggest jump into them. It's really causing some interesting, it's hard to study it, and so we're still at the very beginning phases of studying what the true society ramifications are to this. There's quite a bit to learn still, but I think we've talked about 3 points that are really important. And the first is that we're making changes to the largest group of laborers in the market, which are the youngest group in the market, and that really what we're finding is the rich get richer. The big companies are absorbing the costs and still maintaining, because there's so many of them, where it's the poor mom and pop stores and restaurants that are really suffering, as they can't compete against the bigger stores. I think even just locally, you can see there's been some fallout from Walmart coming in as a grocery store, and some of our smaller grocery stores are failing and closing their doors because of they just can't compete against that. So as we look at the opportunities, take some time to do a little bit of research if you get the opportunity to have a say in the outcome of this, and make sure that you understand what's going on. Fast foods and restaurant industries together are an optional industry where you have a choice in whether you go or not. However, there's many industries that we need. We want our kids to be educated. We want to make sure that we see that when we go to the doctor we get really good service, and that there's so many industries that we would want to see progress and succeed more so than the restaurant and fast food industry. So as you get a chance to look at this in the future, I would definitely question whether the fast food and restaurant industry is the right industry. For me, I don't think it's a good idea. So with all that information, I'd really like to thank you for your time. Thank you.